What's up, guys? So the 2022-23 Premier League season is just about to start, and I'm going to do my prediction on how the league's going to look at the end of the season. Who's the winner, who's going to play European football, and who's going to get relegated. Let's dive right into it. Okay, first team to get relegated, in my opinion, is going to be Bournemouth. They're going to be the last spot in the Premier League. I just don't see Bournemouth getting far at all. Like, they signed Neto from Barcelona, but overall, they can't make it out of the Prem. They're going to get relegated back in the Championship. And who knows, we might see them again soon because they're a pretty good Championship side, but they can't stay alive in the Premier League. In the 19th spot, I'm going to put Brentford. Brentford sucks. I'm sorry. They can't make it out of the Prem. Brentford, they had a really good start last season, but they crumbled. They started to crumble bad. And then they added Christian Eriksen, who was literally like their savior, but now he's gone. Like, what are you going to do now? Like, there's no one there to save you. And so I just don't see it. They signed Ben Mee, a good pickup from Burnley. They just fell apart. They just crumbled, and I think they're not going to make it out of the relegation zone this year. They barely escaped last season, but this season it's not going to happen. They're worse off than they were last year. Last team to get relegated might be slightly controversial. Everton. I think Everton's going to get relegated. I'm sorry, Toffee fans. I'm sorry, you guys have a great atmosphere over at Goodison Park and everything, but you guys suck, and you just lost your best player. You gave away your best player in Richarlison to Tottenham. You're not making it out of the relegation zone. You barely scraped it out last season. Not only that, but you just have, in defense, you have nobody. And I know you made a good signing. You signed Tarkowski, but overall, I think that team is a mess. And so, Frank Lampard, I love you. You can tell right here that I'm a big Frank Lampard fan. However, he's going to be the first manager to get sacked, in my opinion. I'm sorry, Everton, but you guys are going to be the 18th spot to get relegated this season. Bottom of the table, first team, 17th spot, barely escaping relegation. I'm going to say Fulham. I think Fulham made some good signings. Like, they signed Paulinho, Andreas Pereira from Man United, Bern Leno too. Leno's a good keeper. Like, he's a really good keeper. I know he had a really bad season in Arsenal that one time, but overall, he's a really good keeper. And so he's great for Fulham. He's a great signing for them. I think Mitrovic is a stud. He's going to score lots of goals. I think he's going to compete hard for the Golden Boot this season. And so Fulham might be a shocker, but they're escaping relegation this season, in my opinion. After that, 16th spot, I'm going to say Leeds. Leeds losing Rafinha and Calvin Phillips sucks for them, but they made really good replacements with Tyler Adams and Sinisterra. Patrick Bamford is back from injury as well, and so I think they're going to stay alive. Definitely lower half of the table and not very good, but they'll be able to stay in the Prem. After Leeds, I'm going to say Southampton. They're good enough to not get relegated, but they're not good enough to make a push into the top half of the table. Not really many significant transfers this season, except for losing Fraser Forster, who's a good keeper. He's a good keeper, but they lost him, and that's going to hurt them a little bit. Also, James Ward-Prowse, I think he's severely overrated, but at the same time, he's very underrated, if that makes any sense. It's not going to push them into the upper half of the table, is what I'm trying to say. In the 14th spot, I'm going to say Crystal Palace. I think Crystal Palace, same problem with Southampton. They didn't really make any significant changes except for losing Conor Gallagher, who was their best player. I mean, they had really no say in that, which kind of sucks, but Chelsea did them dirty. That sucks for them because Conor Gallagher broke out as a star last season for Crystal Palace, and then immediately Chelsea was like, we want him back. And so that's a huge bummer for Palace. In the 13th spot, I'm going to say Forest. I am on the Nottingham Forest train. I think that they made great signings such as Niakate and Nico Williams and Jesse Lingard, and they signed Dean Henderson, and they offloaded a ton of players that were, I think, championship caliber, and added tons of players that were Premier League caliber. And so I think they are going to shock everybody. We saw them in the cup tournament last season, how well they did, and they were upsetting big teams. They were upsetting really big teams. And so I think they're going to keep that momentum going. They're going to kill it in the Prem this season, in my opinion. And they're here, and they're here to stay. Okay, so in the 12th spot, I'm going to put Wolves. They signed Gonzalo Guedes from Valencia, and I think that's a great signing. But Wolves is a mediocre team. They aren't going to push any higher into the table. I think they're going to be stuck at 12th. Their goal is to get European football, and they're just not that good. After Wolves, I'm going to say Brighton. I think Brighton's going to shock everybody, honestly. I think that they shocked everybody last season, and even though they lost two of their best players, Bissouma and Cucurella, I think they're going to shock people again. They're going to be a lot better than everyone expects. After Brighton, I'm going to say Villa. I think Villa is going to be right in the middle of the table. They signed Coutinho permanently, which is fantastic for them, I think. Coutinho killed it last season for them, and I think he's going to continue to kill it for Villa. Not only that, but they signed Kamara from Marseille, and I think that's a fantastic pickup as well. But in the same boat, they're not that good. They're not good enough. In the 9th spot, I'm putting Newcastle. I won't lie, I thought it was hilarious seeing Newcastle not win a single match last season until they made those big changes with their ownership. and now they did a 180 and they're making a complete change. And they added so many players last season, and I think they're going to continue on that streak and do really well. So far, they've signed Botman from Lille, they signed Nick Pope, who was a great keeper to have, and they signed Matt Target, and I think that's a fantastic pickup as well. And so there's a lot of Premier League caliber players that's going to make them push for European football, but I think they're going to fall short. Newcastle, they're overrated in my opinion. I think there's a lot of hype behind them that they're going to do really well. And they won't do bad, but they won't do good either. I think Alan St. Maximin is completely overrated. The guy's a dribble merchant, and I hope he proves me wrong, but the dude just looks funky dribbling the ball around. Dribbles are good to have, but it doesn't matter if it doesn't get you goals. In the 8th spot, just barely missing out on European football, is West Ham. I don't think West Ham's going to make it. Nothing significant happened in their squad other than losing Mark Noble. And like, Mark Noble's an old man that didn't do anything anyways. I'm trying to be brutally honest, but I just don't see them. It's like Declan Rice is a great player, but Declan Rice can only take you so far when the rest of the squad around you is mediocre at best. They're going to be pushing for European football, but that's about it. They won't make it. Okay, getting in the Conference League, I'm going to say Leicester. And one of the big reasons why I think so is because James Maddison has been playing fantastic. Jamie Vardy's back as well. He missed most of last season with injuries, and now that Vardy's back, he's going to give you 20 goals a season. And no one's even going to like blink an eye. Like, everyone's going to be like, oh, he did? Like, no way. He just does it so casually, I think, and no one ever notices, but Jamie Vardy scores goals. And I know there's rumors about Fofana and Maddison leaving the squad. That might hurt them a lot, but I do think Leicester's got an all-around decent squad, and they can play European football. They're better than the other guys on the table. The biggest thing, though, is losing Kasper Schmeichel, which I don't know why they let him go. Kasper Schmeichel's a good keeper. And so now they don't have the best player in goal. But I still think they're good enough. Like, Leicester's a good team. They can figure it out. Brendan Rodgers is a good manager. They're going to get European football and stay in 7th. 6th spot for Europa League, I'm going to say Manchester United. They made some good signings like Christian Eriksen and Lisandro Martinez, and they got rid of a lot of players like Pogba, Matic, Lingard, and Mata, Cavani. They even loaned out Alex Telles, which was, in my opinion, like, kind of not smart of them. And they're trying to bring in a lot of players. The rumor to sign freaking everybody, I swear, but I guarantee you they're not going to sign any of those guys because no one wants to go to Man United. That club is in shambles right now. That club is a mess. And I think Cristiano Ronaldo is going to be so sick of that team. If he does stay, I guarantee he's gone after this season. He's not staying one more season after this. Especially if they don't get Champions League football. Man United is just a mess right now. They're just an absolute wreck. So in 5th spot, also getting European football in the Europa League is, I'm going to say Arsenal. And I know a lot of people are saying Arsenal is going to be top 4. And in my opinion, they are good enough to be a top 4 team. However, there are 4 other teams that are better than them. And so I think Arsenal is going to be stuck in 5th. Like, signing Zinchenko and Jesus is amazing. Jesus killed it in the preseason. He's going to make it a race for the Golden Boot, in my opinion, too. But I don't think that they're better than the other 4 teams that are going to be in the top in Champions League football. Sorry, Arsenal fans. Okay, in 4th, I'm going to say Tottenham. I know people are saying Tottenham is pushing even higher. First of all, Antonio Conte is an amazing manager. I love Antonio Conte. He's so great at turning teams around. And they made really good signings too. Like, they signed Perisic and Richarlison and Basuma, and I think this season they're going to do the same. They're going to get into the top 4, and that they're also one of the reasons why Arsenal won't make it. I think Arsenal improved, but Tottenham improved more. In 3rd place, I'm going to put Liverpool. I don't think they got better. I think signing Darwin Nunez is great, but I think Sadio Mane is better, and losing Sadio Mane hurts. Obviously, Liverpool is still a fantastic team. They do really well, but they don't do as good in my opinion, and so they're going to drop from 2nd to 3rd. And I really hope Darwin Nunez kills it. I am definitely on the Darwin Nunez train. All those people saying like Darwin Nunez versus Erling Haaland, shut up. Like, everyone knows Erling Haaland is way better. Anyone comparing these two, that's ridiculous. Erling Haaland 100% is better. I saw a post about like Mbappe, Haaland, and Nunez, who's gonna win Ballon d'Or first. Do not include Nunez in that argument with those two. They are miles clear of Darwin Nunez. But I want Darwin Nunez to kill it. Part of me also wants Darwin Nunez to prove everybody wrong and be like, yo, I'm amazing. I'm a fantastic player. And so I'm on the Darwin Nunez train for sure this season. I hope he kills it. In 2nd, I'm going to say Chelsea. And I know you guys are probably thinking like, oh, he's just biased. I probably am pretty biased. But think about it this way. Like, last season, Chelsea took 3rd. They had a really rough second half of the season. They had injuries to Ben Chilwell, to Reece James. They had Lukaku just playing awful. It was a mess in Chelsea, and yet they finished 3rd. But this season, Reece James is back. Ben Chilwell is back. They got rid of Lukaku. They signed Raheem Sterling, who was arguably the best attacker at Man City, and they signed Cucurella, who's a great backup to have in case of injury, can play defense. They lost Antonio Rudiger, which sucks. However, they made a great signing in Kalidou Koulibaly, who's arguably just as good as Rudiger, even better maybe. And so why wouldn't Chelsea finish in second? They improved. Last season, it was such a mess and they finished third. And this season, they haven't fixed all the mistakes, but they've fixed a lot of those mistakes. So why wouldn't they be able to push for second? And in my opinion, the team that's going to win the title again, it's going to be City. I think City is too OP. And even though they got rid of a lot of players, such as Raheem Sterling and Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko and Fernandinho, signed Calvin Phillips, they signed Erling Haaland. They have so many great attackers and so many great playmakers, but their biggest problem was not having a striker. Yet at the same time, they were scoring 3, 4, 5 goals per game. Now they have one of the best strikers in the world. Not only that, but one of the best managers ever. I hate City, by the way, so it hurts me to say that, but they will win it. But here's a recap of how it's going to go. City's going to win the title. Champions League football will be Chelsea, Liverpool, and Tottenham. Europa League football will be Arsenal, Man United. Conference League football will be Leicester. Top half of the table, we have West Ham, Newcastle, Villa, Brighton, and Wolves. And then after that, Nottingham Forest, Crystal Palace, Southampton, Leeds, Fulham, and then getting relegated will be Everton, Brentford, and Bournemouth. You know, I made a lot of harsh takes on here. I'm very critical of players in the Prem. I love when I get proven wrong. I hope a lot of these teams prove me wrong and do better than expected. That's my prediction for the 2022-23 Premier League season. Let me know what you guys think. Drop a comment below, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Instagram. Let me know what you guys think about how the Premier League season is about to play out this year. Thanks, guys.